I am beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Game number 62, Bomberman 64. Released in 1997, this game was developed by Hudson Soft and published by Nintendo. This, I feel, is a pretty well-known game on the N64. Maybe not up there with the likes of Mario 64, but it's a pretty well-known one. I actually managed to beat this game back in the day when I was like 6 or 7 years old. I didn't beat too many games back then because I sucked, but the ones I did finish really stuck with me. I don't know if you all feel the same way about gaming as I did as a really young kid. The game has a single-player story mode, so we will complete that to beat this game. You can play on either normal or hard difficulty. All hard really does is rearrange where a lot of the collectibles are located, so I decided to play on normal. The story opens with a cutscene showing these evil dudes standing around a black cube and they're absorbing energy or something with it. Then a large fortress with 4 different islands chained to it lowers, and the fortress starts sending space lasers at all the poor citizens below. Some yellow and white flying dude named Sirius shows up and says they don't like those guys either, so we can work together to take them down. We can't access the fortress without taking down the barriers on each of the 4 islands connected to it. And then we go into the first level. I believe this is the first ever 3D Bomberman game, so it was quite revolutionary for the series. You can drop bombs and kick them to blow objects and enemies up. A big thing I remember from this first level is this large alligator mouth you blow up to open it. This takes you to other parts of the level. Like, it's just such a weird thing. Why is it a massive alligator that travels between areas? Oh yeah, and if you take damage from anything, you'll die. Although you can find a heart in each level to give you an additional hit to survive. Bomberman can also grab bombs and throw them. Mashing the A button allows you to turn it into a large bomb, which deals more damage and can affect certain things in the environment differently from small bombs. And there's a few power-ups you can get, one being remote bombs. These allow you to manually detonate bombs on screen rather than have them go off after a certain length of time. So for example, I use the big bombs to drop this bridge, which can't be done with small bombs. The objective in the first level is to hit these 4 switches scattered throughout the level. Doing so releases an orb sealing a red diamond, which is how you exit a level. So after hitting all 4 of these, I beat the first level. It's honestly a great intro to the game. So after that, surprisingly, it dumped you right into the first boss fight. Sirius wants to test our skills to make sure we've got what it takes to save the world. The way each of these worlds go is a regular level, followed by a mini boss, followed by another regular level, and then the main boss of that area. The way these mini boss fights work is you just have to hit them with a bomb to take a heart from them. After taking all their hearts, you win. It's very similar to how the multiplayer in this game works. The next level's incredibly easy, like the end is right in front. Oh, that flying dude stole it. Guess this is harder than I expected. Sirius gives us some lore that the guy who's stealing the planet's energy is named Altair, but he's incompetent and doesn't know what he's doing. This level starts to give an idea of some of the puzzle elements the game offers. You can't jump as Bomberman, so to reach this higher area, I have to kick a bomb under a platform that gets launched upwards. Especially for getting 100%, which I'll get into later, there's some wild things you can do with bombs to beat this game. The idea of this level is you have to keep reaching the gem while that flying dude steals it from you every time you think you've won. After the 3rd time though, Sirius flies by and blows it up, allowing us to reach the actual end of the level once and for all. So like I said earlier, the 4th level of each area is the main boss. The one in this is a big blue dragon. Essentially, Bomberman's on top of an archway and the dragon flies around doing things like breathing fire or swooping in to perhaps take a bite out of it. It's a pretty easy fight in general. Just create big bombs and throw them at it when it gets close. 3 bombs to its face, it catches on fire and dies. When you beat the boss of an area, the chain connected to Altair's fortress is destroyed and we're one step closer to taking him down. Then we go to the next world. It's more like a water-themed world, I'd say. The music in this game's amazing, by the way. There's a mix of all kinds of different musics in the regular levels that really fit well with the theme. The song in this level just sounds like it fits with a seaside town or Italian village or something like that. But then when you're fighting a boss, it plays intense drum and bass music. I think the variety of different types, it's just so good. So I know Bomberman is the one having his planet invaded and all, but who's the real bad guy here? He just throws an explosive into this building, killing over a dozen people inside. I'm not sure he's so innocent in this scenario. You can't swim in this game, so to access certain parts of this level, there's pressure plates that activate water gates, draining the water, allowing you to reach new areas. I think this one's my favorite level, just with the theme and how the level opens up more and more as you go. After solving all the puzzles, the level ends with a metal bridge lowering, giving access to the next place. So now we're crossing the bridge and Artemis shows up and blows it up. He's one of Altair's evil henchmen. This fight is Artemis running around wildly and occasionally jumping up to launch fire shards at us while shouting, "You're mine!" It's actually rough to hit her because we don't have remote bombs, but it's easy to dodge the attacks, so I beat it pretty easy on the first try. She blows up and completely disintegrates from the explosion. What the heck? Moving on, the next level's very similar to the last one. There's a lot of these big metal cannons that need to be blown up with a big bomb. The solution to getting out of this one probably stumped a lot of people back in the day. There's a staircase that needs to be reconnected, but it doesn't tell you how. Really, you just need to lay bombs next to it after draining the water, and it slowly slides into place. So then it's time for the main boss of this area. It's like a big purple fish dude with an antenna. This guy's way more intense than the dragon from before. The fight takes place in a tunnel filled with water, and we're on a small raft. It has multiple dangerous attacks, like this one where it slams the antenna at you, or another where it flaps its tail fin to launch a barrage of bubbles. By far, the scariest attack is when it flies in the air and sends a gust of air that slices off part of the raft. If the fight lasts too long, it can leave you with nowhere to stand. Then it sends a wave where you have to run against it or you're swept into the water. Overall, I think it's a really well designed boss fight. So now we're on to the third area, which is fire themed. The difficulty in these ramps up quite a bit in my opinion. For one thing, there's plenty of places to fall off the edge and burn to a crisp in the lava. I think the worst part of this level is these rock pillar enemies because they just have so much health. It takes forever to kill one, but it does drop a guaranteed heart, so I think it's worth to kill at least one of them. And you might remember knocking over these big rocks to create bridges across the lava. At the end of the level, there's these 3 levers you need to hit with a thrown bomb to activate them. However, I had an issue here. I could reach the 2 on the right just fine, but the third one, I couldn't hit it no matter what I tried. Like even getting on the very last pixel, I just couldn't reach it. I even tried bouncing a bomb off another one, but it still didn't work. Finally, after over half an hour, I figured it out. You can throw bombs further by pushing the joystick forward when you throw it. I think Sirius actually teaches this in the first level, but I guess I forgot. I hate when it's something dumb like that. After getting out of that mess, we're into another mess with one of Altair's henchmen showing up, Orion. This fight's similar to the others, but he has a special power to send out a green shield to damage you if you don't move out of the way. I'm not even joking when I say I killed this guy in under 20 seconds. He just blew himself up, so that was really easy. The next level in this one's pretty darn frustrating. There's a long series of minecart tracks, and you frequently find enemies riding in the minecarts to try to kill you. You can blow them up with a big bomb, but it can be tough if you're not like anticipating them to show up. This place, honestly, it's massive. It can be very overwhelming when you're first trying to figure out where to go because there's so many branching paths and many sub areas in the level. With a lot of deaths and lots of wandering around hopelessly, I did find the end, but it still took a while to find out how to leave. Turns out I needed to use a big bomb to blow up these pillars to reveal the exit. Might be my least favorite level in the entire game. So now it's the boss of the fire area. It's a big old lava robot thing. It extends its arms and spins around, and it can shoot lasers out of its eyes. If the fight lasts long enough, it might even try to punch you. It can be tough to dodge all these attacks, but if you persevere, you'll blow it up just like all the others. Finally, we're on to the last area, which is snow themed. Altair is truly evil because it seems he's enlisted the local snowman population to fight for him as well. At least all these enemies are getting some R&R by snowboarding down the slopes here. The main danger in this level is a sub area where the wind blows aggressively. If you're not ready for it, you'll be swept right off the cliff. I made my way through the snowy mountains and blew up a cabin where snowboarders were coming from. This revealed a button that brought a ski lift allowing me to exit. Or it would have if I didn't fall off the cliff. Now we have to fight against Regulus, and he is nuts. He runs around so sporadically, and it's just hard to hit him. Reminds me of a pro Smash Melee player where they're just wave dashing all over the place. Also, he can do this charging attack that's easy to dodge, but he more uses it just to avoid your bombs. It's super annoying to take him down. In the end, he brought his own demise by blowing himself up. This time though, he doesn't die. He just says he underestimated us and flies off. You know the drill by now, we gotta do another regular level. In this one, the entire place is covered in ice, and yep, there's ice physics. They aren't so bad though, because you don't slide too much, so you can safely walk around. The part most people probably remember from this level is when the camera shifts to a view from below. My god, why did they do this? I guess it's to introduce a challenge? It's miserable trying to navigate your way through this area. Maybe you remember this ice slope part to reach the exit. You can't walk up the slopes, and Sirius just says, with some ingenuity you can make it. Thanks, dude. It took me a while to figure it out, but you just gotta commit to running up the slope from the other side. This reveals the way out. So now comes one of the more notorious bosses of the game, this big ice spider. This thing is way more dangerous than all the previous ones. It uses its two sword-like legs to stomp and swipe at you. Plus, it actually moves around in the arena with you, unlike the other bosses all being outside of it. Hitting its legs won't actually damage it, only hitting the head will. You might find it's hard to hit the head. Like, look at this, I was completely cornered by it. Absolutely nowhere to go. After a while, it jumps onto the wall and spawns a bunch of minions to chase you. This part's relatively safe, although it's easy to trip up due to the ice physics. The best way I could figure out how to hit it is by standing under it long enough for it to get confused and just throwing a bomb in its face. Once you get it down to one heart left, it stomps the ground, causing both of you to fall down to a new arena below. It's like something out of Mortal Kombat. This area is much more dangerous because there's so many places to just fall to your demise. All the bosses before this were pretty easy, but this one I struggled a bit with. Still, it only took around 10 minutes or so to beat it. So now with all 4 areas beaten, the barrier over Altair's fortress has been shattered. The fortress, it's kinda wild. I guess there's a full-on city below it or something like that. There's a highway with all kinds of cars and buses going down it, but there's also like turrets set up that shoot at people walking by. Like, what a weird place, honestly. This level boils down to having multiple long screens of these highways, and you've got to strategically time your running through so as not to get ran over. This level is way harder than any of the previous non-boss levels. I got run over so many times, like, it's just hard to focus on when it's safe. And this level's unique as well in that there's a sort of boss fight at the end of it. A large robot battalion thing descends from above, and dudes with axes are constantly spawning, as well as 2 guys shooting massive blue energy orbs at you. It's pretty chaotic. After 3 or 4 tries, I knocked out the machine and beat the level. The mini-boss of this place is also quite different. Instead of one of Altair's minions, you fight a big Transformers robot thing that shoots missiles and machine guns. Not only that, it can also spawn these flying drone turrets that shoot exploding lasers. And if that's not enough, it sometimes spawns a big orb in the center of the room that just makes it dark. I'm actually not sure what the purpose of that is. It took like half an hour to beat this thing. Like, it is so hard. I have zero clue how I did this when I was a kid. There's just so many attacks to avoid, and one mistake will kill you. After this, Altair doesn't let up with his horribly designed castle. How does he bring groceries up to his lair with all these traps, man? The big thing here are these panels on some of the walls that send out lasers. You've got to time running past them carefully or dead instantly. Along with that, there's switches on the floor that generate bridges for you to cross, and it creates a small and simple puzzle to solve. This one wasn't too tough, honestly. It was done. Finally, we confront Altair himself. Some flying pair of sunglasses with a crown or something like that comes in and zaps the bridge, leaving us with no way out. The fight with Altair gets intense. He's constantly running around, much more than his minions did, and he lays way more bombs. The flying sunglasses has the ability to launch a laser across the arena as well. After quickly taking down his health, a cutscene plays where Altair and the sunglasses merge together, and he honestly looks super cool after it. The worst part about Phase 2 is if you throw a big bomb at him, he just teleports away. Kind of annoying, as this was a great strat for dealing with all the other bosses. I actually managed to take him down on the first try, which was awesome. Regulus flies in and saves Altair, letting him get off without any punishment, other than getting beaten up, I guess. It shows a cutscene with the fortress floating away. Then Sirius shows up and says Altair got away and he's disappointed in me. What the heck's that supposed to mean? We got rid of the bad guy, didn't we? Then the credits play. game beaten. And that's where this video would end, if I didn't do any optional content, and oh man, there is a lot of it. You might have noticed some gold card things being collected during some of the boss fights. Turns out there's 5 of those in each level, both bosses and regular levels. You've got to collect them all in every level to unlock a secret 6th world, so that's exactly what I did. So for regular levels, there will be 1 gold card for speedrunning it, and 1 for killing at least 30 enemies in the level, and 3 for reaching certain spots in each level. The speedrun time's quite lenient, and getting 30 kills is very easy because you can just reload screens to respawn the enemies. The others can be a different story though. I won't go over all the cards, but some of them are just insane. There's a tech you don't need to know exists to beat the game any %, and that's bomb jumping. It's quite obvious that bombs can be used to blow things up, but they can also be bounced on by Bomberman to essentially jump across gaps. This can lead to some wild contraptions. These can get really insane, and no, that setup wasn't cheese. That's the intended way to get up there. The amount of ridiculous bomb setups you have to build to collect some of these is just, it's crazy. I can't believe the devs thought of all this stuff, honestly. This doesn't even get you a gold card though. It only gives you access to more powerful red bombs. They end up being very useful in level 1 though. Those big blue pillars can be blown up, which kind of blows my mind because I never knew that until this playthrough. All that being said, I do think level 1 has the hardest gold cards of any of the regular levels, so don't be too intimidated. I think the devs just wanted to show the contrast of a very easy level having extremely difficult collectibles. So that's how you get the gold cards in regular levels, but how about boss fights? They are way different actually. Sure, you get 1 of them for beating it under the speedrun time, but the other 4 are obtained for doing certain things during the fight. For the bosses where you're fighting another bomber, you have to bounce a big bomb on their head, damage them with a large bomb, you have to counter their specific special attack, and you get the 4th just for winning. That's fine and all, but the hard part is that you have to get all 5 gold cards in a single run. That's not required for the normal levels, but it is for boss fights. Getting each one individually is not that hard, but getting all 5? Good luck. The main bosses have to be done in 1 run as well. However, the way to get them is different for each boss. All of them have the speedrun time, but the other 4 vary. Like for the dragon in the first area, you have to catch both its wings on fire as well as its head and tail. Hitting the tail's actually quite difficult, since the only time you can is when it's swooping under the archway. I think the hardest boss to get all the gold cards though is Altair. His are obtained just like all the other bomber fights, but there's one problem. You have to hit him with a big bomb in phase 2, but he always teleports away. The only way I could get this is by throwing a bomb just as he launches a projectile at me. That way he's stunned from launching it, so the bomb can actually hit him. It was actually pretty tough. So this isn't meant to be a video walkthrough of all the gold cards, we'll skip ahead. I collected all 100 of them, I beat Altair, and just like before, Regulus shows up to save him. Only this time, something I absolutely didn't expect happens. Sirius shows up and knocks both of them out of the sky, and then he steals the Omni Cube and then sends the biggest energy beam ever to vaporize Altair. That even put Goku to shame. He's like, now I got my power back. You've outlived your usefulness, Bomberman, and you will die along with this entire planet. Oh my god, what a twist. We were bamboozled the whole time. This gives access to a brand new world, the Rainbow Palace. And oh my god, if Altair's fortress was a step up in difficulty, this is like a moon jump cheat code leap up in difficulty. These levels are crazy. They've got gaps to fall in all over the place, as well as ones you need to cross over too. The enemies here are cards with weapons for some reason. It honestly doesn't make much sense. The goal in this level is to press a button right near the spawn, but it's elevated quite high. Honestly, I'm not sure how you're intended to reach this button. I did it with an unintended strat I learned from seeing speedruns of this a long time ago. Essentially, you place a bomb a certain distance away from a wall you want to get on. Then you stand a step or so away from the wall and throw a bomb. This causes the bomb to bounce on your head, sending you backwards into that other bomb you laid, and then you bounce on that bomb into the other bomb, and then you get up on the ledge. It's a lot easier than it looks. With the button pressed, that's only half the battle, because the end of the level is quite inaccessible as well. My first attempt to reach it, yeah, not so good. It actually took around half an hour to get back to the button. Maybe the intended strat would have worked better, but oh well. Thankfully, I safely made it to the end on the next try. The Rainbow Palace levels have gold cards as well. You don't really get anything from them besides new outfits for multiplayer, but I figured why not. And well, some of them are just ridiculous. Thankfully, you can die after getting a gold card, then beat the level normally and it saves it, because good luck getting back to safe ground after reaching that. So now there's a boss just like before. This guy is the Spellmaker, and he sucks. You don't get remote bombs, which already makes hitting him really rough. He likes to jump around, which is horrible because he jumps right before your bomb explodes. The gimmick he does is he sends out random cards which signify the attack he'll use. He can send out a shadow hand to grab you, send a bunch of fists to smash you, throw exploding cards at you, or my favorite, a massive scythe taking up the entire room swings at you. I hate this guy. And yep, he has 5 gold cards to obtain as well, and you need to get all 5 in one run, just like before. You get 1 card at the start for free, 1 for having a bomb explode in the shadow hand, 1 for burning his cape, and 1 for burning his head. Once you've damaged him, he'll throw in some new attacks, like he can summon this fire dragon to chase you around. It actually took quite a lot of grinding, but I finally did kill him along with getting all 5 gold cards. Good riddance. Don't have to hear him going ha 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 anymore. Next up is the actual final regular level of the game. It takes place exclusively inside one room. The goal of the level is to make your way up to these 4 buttons located on ledges to reveal the exit. And well, getting to them's not easy at all. I think it took me a half hour to figure out how to reach just one of them. The gold cards here are all really easy, except the speedrun one. Good luck getting all these under the time limit, but yeah, this level, it puts your puzzle solving skills to the test. It really doesn't get much more complex than this. I'm not sure if it was intended or not, but for one side of the room I just couldn't find a way up there. I ended up moving diagonally into one of the bombs to get up. I guess it is intended, but I don't know, I'm not sure. Really, after getting one of these buttons, the others started coming in quickly. It was really satisfying to step on them. The speed run took quite a bit more practice, but I did end up getting it 30 seconds under the goal time as well. After that, there was only one thing left standing in my way: the final boss battle against Sirius. Still can't believe he betrayed us like that. He uses the cube to transform the room we're in to this alternate dimension type place. This fight can be tough because he has the ability to fly, so it's impossible to hit him while he's in the air. He frequently sends out a flaming laser in a line across the map. The best way I found to beat the first phase is just knock him out and throw him off the cliff. It can be tough because he can fly, but if you get him stunned near the edge, it works out. After phase 1, Regulus shows up and helps us in the fight. In phase 2, we go back to the room we were in before, and Sirius isn't messing around. He used that massive beam he killed Altair with, as well as just laying an absurd amount of bombs around the arena. One of the gold cards in this fight is to keep Regulus alive until the end, which can be a nightmare. He loves to just walk directly into that energy beam. After about 5 tries or so, I took down Sirius along with getting all 5 gold cards. He dies in a massive explosion, then Regulus saves us from the crumbling palace. He says he respects our abilities, but that doesn't mean he likes us. Wow man, we just fought together, like come on. And then the credits play once again, this time with the true ending. For getting all 120 gold cards, there's a bunch of costumes you unlock for multiplayer only. It's too bad you can't use them in single player, because they're kinda cool. There's a few additional ones you can unlock by speedrunning the game on hard mode, but yeah, maybe some other time. Game complete. So yeah, there you have it, my journey to beating Bomberman 64. What a journey this was. Just beating the game any percent's really easy to do for the most part, but getting the true ending is nuts. I had no idea there was a separate world in the game, and honestly I didn't expect Sirius to betray us like that. The puzzles to get all the gold cards were really fun, and I think they did a great job bringing the franchise to 3D. The music's great, the level design's really nice, and it's just a good time. That being said, it's not perfect. It lags a lot sometimes due to the limitations of the N64, especially during boss fights. As well as the graphics, they're just pretty average for the console. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10 for enjoyability and a 5.5 out of 10 for difficulty. If I didn't do 100%, maybe it would have been like a 2.5 out of 10 for difficulty. Hey, thanks for watching the video. Have a sneak peek at the next game. So we currently have 329 games on the list. Let's see what we get. 3, 2, 1, go. 14! What is that? It's way up there. Oh, baby. We are playing the next All-Star Baseball game, which is All-Star Baseball 99. But yeah, if you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. It helps the channel a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one.